What is going on, guys? This is the Club of the Man 1993, and I'm back up here again for my next live review in wrestling as we review this week's Tuesday night episode of NXT from the April 27th, 2021 edition that took place at the Capitol Wrestling Center. We're going to break down everything that happened really quick on this show and then go watch AEW and talk about that later. Overall, gotta be real, this wasn't that great of an episode of NXT. It wasn't horrible. It's just kind of bland, kind of there. Nothing really happened. Nothing really, exciting happened. It was one of those episodes that it was just there. Like a skippable episode that if you didn't watch it, you wouldn't have missed anything. I mean, we had a women's title match hyped up for next week. That actually could be good, but I don't know. Something was missing from this week's episode. Not much buzz. I mean, yes, we did have the interview with Adam Cole, but even that just was what it was, basically. Kind of like stuff you typically knew you saw coming with Adam Cole. Or, like I said, it's just because this episode just didn't really light the world on fire to me. Just my opinion. But let's talk about it real quick. And see what we got here. Welcome back, Tyler. Thank you for joining me live. Hopefully you'll be here and not any other assholes. Because there was in the last stream, I had to block him. Anyways. So, we have... we open up the show with a match between Dakota Kai and Mercedes Martinez, who was the first one to basically say she's coming after Raquel Gonzalez and the newly crowned NXT Women's Champion. The match wasn't too bad with Mercedes and Dakota. It was weird though because they're both supposed to be heels, and not really, yes, maybe with Raquel and Mercedes, tall woman versus tall woman, maybe that works, but it was a little strange with heel Dakota and, a heel Mercedes Martinez, because for about the past year or so, the balance with faces and heels in NXT has really been off. The match ends, though, in a disqualification. Martinez had Kai hoist under her shoulders, but Raquel Gonzalez interfered and gave her a boot for a DQ. And afterwards, Gonzalez whipped Martinez into a barricade, mouths her off, throws to the ring post, and then basically saying, "I run this place, I am the champion," but she's talking Spanish. And then she also lawn darts Martinez into the barricade. And that sets up for a women's title match between the two of them for next week. Okay. Cool. We'll see how that goes. Then we've got Ember Moon and Shotzi Blackheart backstage. Basically talking about how the same thing with the way, because we're going to see probably a match for the millionth time in the upcoming weeks. Actually, next week we're going to see another match between Shotzi Blackheart and Ember Moon, the NXT Women's Tag Team Champions, taking on The Ways, Candice LeRae, and Indy Hartwell, as always. They're then given flowers. Frankie Monet interrupts to read the card, and apparently it says "Love Dexter Lumis." So obviously those flowers were meant for Indy Hartwell, because just last week we had Dexter Lumis walking away carrying Indy Hartwell in his arms because Indy Hartwell apparently has the hots for him, and yeah, this just feels like a whole Vince McMahon storyline. If Vince McMahon said, again, I was because it's just lost its steam, but Vince McMahon's input has really something it's really been growing more in NXT. Just my opinion. Either not, or he's ran some type of like a Vince McMahon virus or something. It's got a little bit of a virus in the system of NXT. Because they ain't shocking the system right now, in my opinion. Then we got Cameron Grimes shopping for some bling bling. He wants the most extravagant, expensive watch in the city. The jeweler says he has something for him, but then it says to be continued. We then have the grizzled young veterans in the ring, saying that James Drake is saying how MSK will compete in any sort of match except for the one that really matters, which is against them. They know once they face them, even though they faced them twice, one-on-one for the Dusty Cup, and then in a triple threat match with Legado del Fantasma just at the Stand and Deliver pay-per-view. Gibson says how they're a great team, but personally, they're the two biggest knobheads they've ever met, which is MSK. They claim they're leaders in the scene, what so desperately needs, and they basically say, the whole shtick, until Tommaso Ciampa and Timothy Thatcher come out. Ciampa says he hates to be the guy who interrupts, but he couldn't help but notice the similarities. He's calling Timothy Thatcher Toothless Timmy, and saying how the both of them are grizzled, and they're veterans. Toothless Timmy and him know a thing or two about being leaders, and by the sound of it all, they also want to face MSK and become the next tag team champions. And the last time that Thatcher and Ciampa faced the grizzled young veterans, they happened to find their way. But then they start back to saying, but then, you got a lot of great things. The one time you missed, they mentioned NXT UK TakeOver Cardiff when they lost the tag titles, and they start yelling at them that if you hate Gibson, shoes off. And they start brawling and basically out of the ring. And I guess we're having a feud now with Grizzly Young Veterans, Ciampa, and Thatcher. Who knows? I don't know. Like I said, it's just... Ciampa's gotta go somewhere else. Again, I love Ciampa, but he's done all he can in NXT. I know he doesn't want to go to the main roster, but it could be best for him to go to the main roster. If not, maybe it's time he goes somewhere else. I'm sorry, it's just that he just ran his courses, it feels like. Him and Johnny. But what do I know? We're going to get a tag match at some point between these two teams. We have a segment with Drake Maverick and Killian Dane, where Drake Maverick is basically worried that Killian Dane's going to turn on him. Why? I don't know. But Dane says how in the immortal words of a great man, you just gotta have faith. So basically saying he's not going to do it. So I guess not. But I don't know why Drake would even think that's the case. And then we also have a promo from Xia Li, flanked by Boa. Also, Isaiah Swerve Scott was in the recording studio again, and basically hypes up a Falls Count Anywhere match next between him and Leon Ruff. Hoping that Swerve wins that. Toni Storm came out and basically is covering up her loss to Zoe Stark by saying that Zoe owes her a thank you because Tony made her famous at TakeOver, and people only knew who she was because of me. Typical thing like a heel would say at some points taking a loss. You should be thanking me because I made you look good in some sorts. And then she's like, I'm about to slap a rookie. I'm going to imagine it's you, so you better be taking notes. Well, that was the case as Toni Storm took on Zeta Ramir, whatever you want to call her, and with Zoe Stark watching her, and Zeta Ramir won, which I was like, okay, is this like the typical? Is this what happened like a few years ago with Cesar Bononi and Andrade Cien Almas? Like she gets a win over a former women's champion, a former Mae Young Classic winner, and that's it. Yeah, I wasn't the biggest fan of that maneuver there. They should have just had Tony win that. Just my opinion. What do we got here? We have Santos Escobar and the rest of Legado del Fantasma probably didn't make a statement in the main event. and he will reclaim the Cruiserweight Championship. Bronson Reed is getting ready backstage to face off with Austin Theory, and if he wins the match, he'll get a shot against Johnny Gargano for the NXT North American Championship. And then we have another promo from LA Knight, who says, "Indy, let me talk to you. You did a bang up job of putting it on for that camera. There was a twinkle in your eye that tells me there was a tingle in your loins, and that ain't nothing to be ashamed of. I've got a lot of references you can ask anybody, and when you've been disappointed by Dexter Lumis, call me. That ain't an insult, that's a fact of life." And Everrise tries to cut a promo also, but then Mackenzie Mitchell says she's not interested, and neither am I, because, who cares about Everrise? So, what's been the point of this Dexter Lumis and Johnny Gargano feud? It's not even leading to Dexter Lumis getting a title shot. Now it's Dexter Lumis and LA Knight, who I'm also questioning their booking. What the heck's going on with LA Knight? He got brought in like a big star, and now he's not doing anything. So I'll get that one. Bronson Reed then takes on Austin Theory, and as we expected, Bronson Reed won. So he will get a match against Johnny Gargano, get another shot at the North American Championship sometime soon. Don't know when that is. Kushida and MSK were interviewed backstage, basically saying that they're excited, that's fire, and all this and that. Basically, they're just going to pump up for their match tonight, and they're calling themselves MS Kushida, basically. Johnny Gargano and Candice LeRae and Austin Theory are pumping up Indy Hartwell, saying that Ember Moon and Shotzi Blackheart are going to try to steal her man, Dexter Lumis, and now it's abundantly clear that Candice LeRae sent the NXT Women's Champions the flowers and card. Who knows if that really was her or not, or just trying to, get her distracted from Lumis. But the Indy storms off in fury to go find them and do some damage, basically. But, like I said, who knows what it means. Imperium then defeated Drake Maverick and Killian Dane. And then we have a segment with Pete Dunne saying how he basically, running down everyone who has a championship, saying he's coming for them to prove that he's the baddest in NXT. Whatever he's going to do next, I don't know. He even called out again, Johnny. He called out Karrion Kross. He called out Kushida. Who knows what he's got next? And then we had part 2 of the Cameron Grimes story, where I guess Ted DiBiase shows up again, and with a watch with much more bling than Cameron Grimes. So Cameron Grimes gets outdone again by Ted DiBiase. Then we were supposed to have a match with Shotzi Blackheart and Ember Moon taking on Jessi Kamea and Aaliyah of the Robert Stone brand, but before the match even began, Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell came out and attacked them, and we're setting up for a street fight between them next week. Let that be, please, the final match we see, of course for now probably, between The Way and Shotzi and Ember. I am tired of seeing that match 20,000 times, however many times again we have seen it, and God knows, who knows how long, because, it's just been so repetitive. Then we have this interview with Adam Cole, asking how he's been. He's been better, he's also been worse, but when you look back at his legendary title reign, War Games 1, he went through a broken wrist. Where he's 100% or not, he's better than the rest of the roster. He knew you're new around here, but he doesn't make mistakes. He makes decision. He's been carrying not just the Undisputed Era, but NXT on his back for the last 4 years. And as far as he's concerned, they turned their backs on him. People got excited at every turn to say this is going to be the next big thing in NXT. Kyle got lucky at TakeOver, and he's going to listen to people saying he's ready for the main event spot. No, Cole does not think so. He knows the anxiety that he's dealing with, and he knows that he's not sure if he's ready for the main event spot. He's definitely not ready to be NXT champion. Because when you do that, it's very real. As long as Cole's in NXT, O'Reilly's not taking his spot. The NXT title picture has always been one of the most competitive divisions on the planet. Karrion Kross, he claims, is good. Is he great yet? But you don't know. The first time he became champion, that freak injury, was it a freak injury or was he not ready? If and when he decides to go after the title for Karrion Kross, that clock is ticking. But where's he go next? None of our business. He's upset people think Kyle O'Reilly is going to replace him. But wherever he goes, Adam Cole is going to be the best Adam Cole he's ever seen. Which, we figured he's going to say something like that. He's like, yep, I lost, but I'm going to bounce back to it. Just basically make excuses for his loss. As we kind of expected this interview, nothing else really. Kyle O'Reilly was watching a monitor backstage and just shakes his head. And we get a teaser for something called Diamond Mine. We'll see what that happens. And in the main event, decent 6-man tag match between MSK and Kushida and Legado del Fantasma. And Legado del Fantasma actually win with a Phantom Driver from Escobar to Kushida. Carden gets double teamed for the pin, and that's all she wrote. That was NXT. Like I said, not a horrible show, just nothing happened. But next week, we will be getting a women's title match. We'll also be getting a street fight between The Way and Shotzi and Ember, hopefully ending that feud. Shoot, I was going to say something else. Try to remember what else there was. Something we're getting next week. Something else. What was it now? Rats. I forgot. Sorry, but yeah. Average. Gave the show a C. What are your thoughts on NXT, guys? Tyler just said love storylines are dumb and stupid. Some are good to be pulled off, like Otis and Mandy, but then not often. And wrestling gone soft, as Taker said. That's for sure. That's going to do it, guys. I'll be back up here in a few hours to review AEW. What are your thoughts on NXT this week? Leave your thoughts down in the comment section below. Slap a like on the video and subscribe for more content to my channel. Follow me on Twitter at DemandAirboy93. Till then, guys, I'm checking out. I'll see y'all later. Have a good night. Enjoy AEW Dynamite also if you watch. Peace out, everybody.